Last week's parashah, Vayetze, describes Jacob's return to the land of Canaan, where he builds an altar and marks the moment when God appeared to him at Bethel, the dream of the stairway to heaven, as he fled from his brother Esau. Between this moment of consecration and a second appearance to Jacob, reminding him that his name is no longer Jacob, but has been changed to Israel, there's a small detail just encapsulated in one verse that tells us that Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died and was buried below Beit El under the oak, which Jacob named Alon Bachot, which means the oak of weeping. Deborah, that's this Deborah in Genesis, not the later Deborah in the book of Judges, is mentioned 11 chapters earlier when a young Rebekah leaves home to marry Isaac, accompanied by Deborah, her nurse, who has probably been Rebekah's wet nurse and had clearly remained in the household long after Rebekah was weaned. Carol Mayers, in her commentary, points out that she must have had a very special bond with the family, perhaps functioning as a surrogate mother or companion for young Rebekah in a foreign land. Nurses are also mentioned at the beginning of the book of Exodus, when Miriam, seeing her baby brother rescued from the river Nile by the daughter of Pharaoh, offers to find a wet nurse from among the Hebrew women to nurse Moses. Miriam, of course, calls her mother, and Pharaoh's daughter says to Yocheved, "Take this child and nurse it for me, and I will pay your wages." We don't know exactly what Yocheved was paid, although we do know from other ancient Near Eastern documents that a wet nurse might act as a guardian for the infant during the first few years of its life. Both adoptive and birth mothers would rely on wet nurses. One Mesopotamian document mentions that a woman had contracted to give her daughter to a team of 2 other women for wet nursing. Those nurses received food and clothing for 3 years, plus monetary payment. One nurse, if one can call him such, who was not paid for his services to the people, and who threatens to strike if he does not receive support and help, is Moses. The story occurs in the book of Numbers and follows the Israelites' complaint against God. A fire breaks out, ravaging the outskirts of the camp. The people cry out to Moses, and the fire dies down. This is then followed by the people's desperate craving for meat. "If only we had meat to eat," they cry. "We remember the fish that we used to eat free in Egypt, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. Now," they say, "our gullets are shriveled. There is nothing at all, nothing but this manna to look to." At night, Moses hears the people weeping at the entrance to their tents. God becomes angry, while Moses is distressed. In anguish, he presents his problems to God. How is he to bear the burden of this whole people? "Did I produce all this people? Did I give birth to them, that you should say to me, 'Carry them in your bosom as a nurse carries an infant'?" Here Moses uses motherhood as the ultimate symbol of devotion, but the word that is used to describe his role in Hebrew is omen. often translated as foster father, or in the feminine form omenet, a foster mother. It comes from the Hebrew root aleph mem nun, from which we derive the noun emunah, meaning faithfulness. The primary meaning of the verb means to confirm, to support, or to nourish, and the word emet, truth, is also derived from this verb. Just to finish the story, Moses tells God that he cannot carry the people by himself, for it is too much for me. And he tells God, "If you would deal thus with me, kill me rather, I beg you, and let me see no more of my wretchedness." Actually, this isn't a strike by Israel's main caregiver, but something far worse: burnout, desperation, and unhappiness and despondency that makes him want to end his life. Speaking about these roles in the Torah is not to make light of the plight of nurses who went on strike yesterday in 44 out of 209 NHS hospitals, mental health trusts, and community services, but rather to underline the very human condition of survival under challenging and hard-pressed circumstances. Although modern Hebrew has a different word for nurse, achot, which is the Hebrew for sister, both expressions, omenet or omen in the masculine and achot, express something essential about the role of caregivers. They are sisters, they are companions, a steadfast and faithful presence for patients in hospitals or homes at times of great vulnerability and trepidation and fear. As much as we worry about the delays for those awaiting surgery and procedures, as much as we fear for ourselves or our loved ones becoming ill, needing an ambulance, requiring care in hospital, I wonder if there is a way of rewarding nurses for the work that they undertake, work that is not simply a job for them, but rather work that requires selfless devotion, empathy, understanding, and compassion. Such qualities are, after all, the attributes of the divine Omen, the divine caregiver, a faithful source of compassion and love, steadfastness and truth, who stands firm in his love for all creatures of the earth. Amen.